Because after everything Coronation Street's Lisa Swain and Carla Connor have been through, failed proposals, a painful split, and the emotional wreckage left behind by Lisa's villainous ex-wife Becky Swain, it finally feels like the storm has passed. And for the first time in what feels like forever, they're looking forward. Safe to say, Lisa and Carla have their sights set firmly on the future now. With news swirling that ITV is planning a Swarlas wedding, confirmed by Corrie boss Kate Brooks, fans can finally breathe again. Next week and beyond, scenes will show the couple have truly moved on from the chaos and heartbreak, and this time, it's not just talk. Because according to our soap insider, Swarla are officially back on track, and next week, a surprise moment is set to seal exactly how deeply Carla cares for Lisa. Not in some loud, dramatic Weatherfield explosion, but in the quiet, intimate way that hits even harder. Carla Connor, the woman who's always had to stay strong, always had to be in control, has been carrying something bigger than underworld orders and business stress. Something far more dangerous in its simplicity. A plan, not a grand gesture meant to impress the street, but a private surprise meant to remind Lisa Swain, after betrayal, fear, and Becky's vindictive shadow, that she is loved. Completely, unconditionally, the kind of love that doesn't disappear when life gets messy. Weatherfield rain hammered the gutters that afternoon as Carla pulled into the cobbled yard, her car packed and her heartbeat louder than the engine. She wasn't planning fireworks, no flash mobs, no spectacle, just something small, something real. Because behind all the shouting matches and dramatic storylines, this is what had really been happening between Carla and Lisa. Arguments that felt like endings, followed by apologies whispered into sofa cushions, and slow rebuilding that didn't erase the past, but made space for something better. Lisa had lost so much. Becky's damage didn't always come with words. Sometimes it was just an ache that wouldn't leave. And Carla had spent her whole life being the one who held everything together. Opening herself up felt like stepping off a cliff. Do you know what's worse than a bad seam? Carla muttered to Debbie as she carried boxes into the back room. Debbie barely looked up. Worse than a bad seam? Carla's eyes narrowed. Missing things. Missed chances. And I'm not missing this one. Debbie's laugh was warm, honest. Good. Don't, but pack a spare fork, you know how these things go. Carla smiled despite herself, hands busy folding, arranging, rewriting her plan again and again until the notebook margins were stained with ink. It wasn't extravagant, but it mattered. Meanwhile, Lisa had her own quiet preparation. She chose something soft to wear, something that felt like her, not like armor. She bought a modest bouquet off a little stall near the cobbles, pale pink flowers, a sprig of rosemary. And still, Becky's shadow followed her like a warning. Lisa didn't want this to be another dramatic spiral. She wanted it to be real, private, safe. At home, Betsy sat at the kitchen table with Ollie Driscoll's party invitation in front of her, pizza in hand, eyes darting between Carla and Lisa like she was watching a fragile piece she didn't want to break. Carla noticed how Lisa's expression softened when she looked at Betsy, and something heavy lifted from her chest. Sometimes the smallest moments felt like the biggest promises. Lauren got Ollie's invite, Betsy said mid-chew. She says she might go. Will you ask Mum to let me go if she says yes? Lisa laughed. We'll see. It's a small thing, Mum, Betsy said bluntly. Not everything is a crisis. Sometimes you're allowed to go to a party for no reason. Carla glanced at Lisa then, and there it was, that look between them. Not flashy, not dramatic, just steady, mutual permission to be ordinary. And in Weatherfield, ordinary is the hardest thing to hold on to. That's when Carla's surprise truly began to take shape. A book, not a wedding planner. Not vows on glossy paper. A book of small things. Cinema tickets from the night they argued over popcorn. A pressed wildflower Betsy gave Lisa last summer. Photos printed in the kitchen with coffee-stained fingers. Little reminders that their love wasn't made of grand speeches, it was made of survival. And laughter. And staying. As evening fell, Carla carried the final box inside. Lisa was drying dishes when Carla set it down and met her eyes. "What's this?" Lisa asked, suspicion mixing with curiosity. Carla's voice was simple. "Quiet. For you. Open it." Inside were tiny wrapped parcels. Folded notes. Envelopes of photographs. Each labeled with one word, firsts. Messes. Betsy's things. Days we forgot to be dramatic. Lisa's smile grew as she unwrapped each memory, and suddenly the world felt smaller, softer, like it could fit in the palm of her hand. She laughed at the cinema ticket. She held the wildflower like it was fragile magic. And then she reached the last envelope, the one labeled, "For when you're terrified." Lisa's breath caught. Inside was a handwritten letter from Carla. Short, urgent, true. And as Lisa read it, her hands trembled, not from fear this time, but from something she hadn't let herself fully believe in. "My heart is not simple, and I am not perfect. I have been a lot of things, but I've learned to be brave when it matters. I love you in ways I'm only now learning to say. I want to be someone who stays. If you let me, I will give you my steadiness, my messes, and the space to be yourself. Always." Lisa read it once. Then again, and the second time, she let it sink in. This wasn't a dramatic bow on a storyline. This was real. Carla wasn't trying to win her back. She was proving she never stopped choosing her. Lisa looked up, eyes glossy, and took Carla's hand. And this time her voice didn't shake. "Okay." And in Weatherfield, news always travels fast, especially the good kind. Later, Rita dropped by for tea, eyes sharp behind her glasses. "I heard you two are getting your ducks in a row," she teased. "Wedding ducks," Carla groaned, rolling her eyes. Rita smiled. "You deserve happiness, love. Don't let anyone take it." Lisa's reply was quiet, but firm. "It's not about deserving. It's about choosing." Rita tapped her chin thoughtfully. "Ah, chosen happiness. That's the stubborn, lovely kind." And the weeks that followed blurred into something almost unbelievable. Registry office calls, outfits that weren't dresses but still felt special, picking a date that didn't clash with underworld chaos. Carla, the woman who always controlled everything, finally let Lisa take the lead on some choices. And Lisa, growing braver every day, accepted. Betsy even got a role, small but important, and the excitement in her face made the whole thing feel like a real family, not just a complicated love story. But Weatherfield never lets joy sit untouched. Becky's shadow still lingered in damp corners, watching from a distance like an old storm that refused to fully disappear. And some nights, Lisa still slowed at the edges of her fear. One evening, Carla sensed it. They sat on the sofa with a throw across their legs, the TV murmuring background noise neither of them cared about. "Don't let it be about Becky," Carla said softly. "We're not letting her write our story." Lisa rested her head against Carla's shoulder. "I don't want to be defined by what she did." "You won't be," Carla promised. "And if she tries to step in our way, we shut the door." And they didn't shut it with shouting. They shut it by living, by laughing, by letting Betsy plan a playlist for the night before the wedding, by inviting friends over, by choosing peace, over and over again. Then came Ollie's party, nothing glamorous. Just a back garden, fairy lights, teenage chaos, music loud enough to make Carla's teeth ache. Lauren was there too, laughing with Betsy like they'd known each other forever, swapping secrets and lip gloss drama while the adults watched from a distance, smiling. Lisa and Carla danced quietly in the corner. No audience needed, no performance, just them. And that's when Carla's second surprise happened. Not the book, because that had already done its work. This was something else, something even quieter. Under the fairy lights, Carla took Lisa's hand and led her toward the shed where Ollie kept an old record player. Ollie, eager and earnest, had offered it like a prop for the kind of romance Weatherfield pretends not to believe in. "What are you doing?" Lisa asked, amused, confused. Carla's smile was soft. "You'll see." And when Lisa turned back, they were all there. Friends. Neighbors. People who mattered. The ones who'd been there for funerals, for cups of tea, for awkward family dinners, for arguments that ended in apologies and chips. They stood in a half circle, faces glowing under fairy lights and genuine affection. Betsy stood proudly beside them, wide-eyed like she'd just been handed the biggest honor of her life. Carla hadn't invited press. She hadn't wanted a scene. She just wanted Lisa to know something she'd struggled to believe for so long. That the life she dreamed of, ordinary magic, was real. And it was held by more than just one person. It was held by many hands. And as Carla stepped forward, Lisa realized the truth. This wasn't just a wedding twist. This was a future. And for the first time, Swarlas weren't just surviving. They were finally coming home to each other.